segment in terms of legends of public speaking. I think everyone knows the two of you and the impact that you've left in the world. But I want to start by, go back to the beginning, in terms of what were some defining moments at the beginning of the journey that led you to this role in your life as public speaker. Dr. Frazier?
One of the defining moments is a brother who's supposed to be on this panel. He's not here right now, but it's lesson. It was a defining moment. Lesson, I go back 50 years, and I met Les when he was a DJ, and I was selling encyclopedias. I was selling Black History encyclopedias, the International Library of Negro Life and History, and he helped me with that. And he got an aspiration to become a speaker. And I had an aspiration to do something other than selling encyclopedias, and which was to really teach people the power of the human connection. This is really what ultimately my calling was to be. And so I switched from selling encyclopedias to putting on events in Cleveland, Ohio. I worked on events called Success through Networking. And Les was again looking to be the speaker. So I gave Les his first speaking agreement, right? There's 500 people in a bar that happened to have an amphitheater in it. And he was awesome. And in a sense, I tried to dissuade him because we talked at Black Room about him becoming a speaker. I'm sorry, is this better? Okay. Van Jones, take advice from Van Jones. The brother knows what he's saying. Is that better? Right into my mouth. I should know that. I'm a speaker. I can hear myself, but nobody else can. I apologize. It was Les Brown who really was a pioneer for Black people, certainly in speaking and crossover with people other than our great pastors in terms of public speaking, talking about general information. Les was the pioneer, and he inspired and motivated us all. Because we said if a chocolate brother with a beard looking blackety-black, okay, could appeal to mass audiences and had the courage just to go out there and do that. And I was a little bit afraid for him, and because I didn't want him to be. Remember, this is 50 years ago. This is not last week. It was a different environment, but he had the courage, and he had a beautiful voice, incredible brain, and when he stepped on my stage for his first major speech, I said, this inspired me, and inspired the audience that was listening to him, and it really helped define the rest of my life. Let's just put it that way.
Very good. Dr. Jolley, same question.
Good morning. Good morning. If you know me, you know I start the same way every time I get up to speak my radio show. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. I did not seek it, I did not choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternity is wrapped up in it. Good morning! That is a piece called God's Minute. It was written by Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, who was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, and I adopted it and adapted it, and over the last 35 years, I have never given a speech without starting with it. I've never started my XM program without it, because it speaks to the fact that we must make the most of each and every day. So at the beginning of my XM show, I start with that piece. Then I take a moment before I get into anything to give God some glory, to give him some praise, thank him for life and strength and health. I am grateful. So on my XM show, I start with God's Minute, then I give God glory. Then I take a moment to thank my friends at Truist Bank, because they have been my sponsors for many years. shout them out, purple rain, purple rain, purple rain. And so I am grateful for that. And then we get the content. And so I'm grateful. The answer to the question is, what was the defining moment that helped me become a speaker? I would say part of that was a defining moment that helped me become an entrepreneur. But I am an entrepreneur. I've had one job in my life for 1 year with the DC public school system. I joined the school system on June the 1st of 1990, and I quit on May the 30th of 1991. So that was it. My daddy was a journalist. He was the first black White House correspondent in America. His name was Levi Jolley. He was a national editor of the NNPA. And so my dad was an entrepreneur who also worked in journalism. My mom was a school teacher, so every morning my mom would get up and cook us breakfast, and then she'd go off to teach school. My dad would come up about 10 minutes to 9 from his office. In the morning, I'd get him down on his Underwood typewriter. Ping, ping. He'd come up, always had a white starched white shirt, a freshly starched white shirt. He'd say, okay, boys, my brother and I, he said, time for y'all to go to school. We get in the car. We ride around the corner to Powell Elementary School, and then he'd give us the same lecture every morning. He said, okay, boys, what are you supposed to do? As he was saying this, we hear the other parents say to their children, okay, Susie, what are you going to do today? Go to school, get a good education. So what? So you can get a good job? Yes, sir. And he say, Bobby, what are you going to do today? Go to school, do what? Get a good education. So what? So you can get a good job. He say, okay, boys, you've heard that. Now let me ask you, what is your job today? Dad, our job is to go to school. Get a good education. So we can create some good jobs.
Yes.
He built that into my brother and I. My brother and I grew up to be entrepreneurs. And so I've only had one job in my life. But how I knew I was supposed to speak, see, I knew I had a call on my life.
Yes.
From a child. That I'm supposed to inspire and encourage and lift and empower people. The only way you could do that when I was growing up was become a preacher. Because that was the only path. And I went from American University, where I got my BA in psychology, to Wesley Theological Seminary, where I got my MTS degree in theology. And yet I never heard the call to preach. And I kept waiting and looking, but it never came. And I don't believe you go into being a pastor if you're not called to it.
That's right.
And so when I finished my seminary degree, I became a jazz singer. My brother was the first jazz major at Howard University. And so we created a combo, started doing music. I started singing jingles for Pizza Hut, making it great, and stuff like that. P-E-T, Black Entertainment TV. I sang the first jingle for Black Entertainment Television. We were doing jingles, we were doing jazz clubs. And I did that for a number of years, and then I knew there was something more. What is God calling me to? And he called me through experiences where I got fired from my last jazz club because it was doing the karaoke craze. They said it's better ROI for a machine than a band. And I was devastated. Because all I knew to do was be a singer. What am I going to do now? And it was out of that I took a job with the school system as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs, and I found what I was born to do, to speak. In front of little kids, then the teachers would invite me. The teachers would invite me, then I'd go to these associations, and then one day I was speaking in a little teeny-weeny hotel room. And the door was open in the hall room, the ballroom down the hall that night, we're going to have a big motivational rally. And while the door was open, I'm speaking to these people. One of the speakers from that night's rally walked by. His name was Les Brown. And he stood outside and invited me to listen to my message and came in and said, you've got something different. You speak and you sing. I'm putting together a tour called the Music and Motivation Dream Team Tour. We've been looking for an opening act. Are you interested? I said, I think so. And a few months later, we kicked off the Les Brown Music and Motivation Dream Team Tour, which featured Les Brown, Billy Preston, Gladys Knight, and a little guy from Washington, D.C. And I found my voice. I found my gift. So Les is on his way, folks, just so you know. He's on his way. This is not strange for Les, okay? He gonna show up, okay? But I want him to hear that I would not be here without Les Brown. I would not be here. I also would not be here without George Frazier. When I was a brand new speaker, George Frazier invited me to the Power Networking Conference. And he wrote up a big article in the Success Guide about this young whippersnapper who's got something. And he encouraged me. And folks, if there's something I want us all to do, is encourage each other. We got to encourage each other. When things when they're not good, encourage them. When they don't have it all together, encourage them. Because sometimes that's all they need, that little seed of encouragement to be able to keep going in tough times. And there have been some tough times. There have been some tough moments. But I can say what my friend Kathy Hughes said when I interviewed her on XM. I've never missed a payroll. I've never missed a mortgage payment. I would do whatever I had to do. I'd speak in prisons. I speak in any place. I speak in nightclubs. I speak in casinos. Wherever there was an opportunity for whatever they was paying, I was speaking. I made that mortgage payment, and when I got stabbed, they never missed a payment. They never missed being paid. That's what we got to make a commitment to do. Amen?
Amen. So under the theme of leadership and legacy, what does it mean to leave legacy and impact and empowerment to the world? And for those in the audience, how can they own their legacy?
To me, it means modeling resiliency, the ability to bounce back, overcoming obstacles. This is extraordinarily important. Easy to say, hard to do. My favorite quote outside of the Bible is a wonderful quote by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the 5 great Caesars. Marcus Aurelius said in 600 BC, he said that the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. What is the first thing God does when He gives you an assignment? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle. Stumble, fall, make the mistakes, and learn the lessons. And then you apply those lessons to the next obstacle. And then when you get your next assignment, He puts an obstacle in your way. And this is, if you look back over your life, your whole life, if you are leading, if you are modeling the behavior that you expect from our culture and our people, you are overcoming obstacles. Let me say it a different way. Obstacles do not block the path. Obstacles are the path. I eat obstacles for breakfast, and that's what leaders do. That's the behavior that they model. And then people like Willie, Jolley, like Les Brown, we've all seen Les Brown overcome obstacles. He's trying to overcome an obstacle this morning to get his ass in here. Willie said it gently, but Les likes to lay the Bible, the grand. It's incredible. But you see that the common thread between Willie and I is Les Brown. That is really the power of the human connection. One person can change the entire trajectory of your life. Now, just one other point. Life. This is something I often talk about. And if you read medical journals, about 5 years ago, the New England Journal of Medicine came out with a longitudinal study on the 3 most productive periods of our life. The 3 most productive periods of start, Willie got a later start, Les got a later start, but we have done our best work in the final 30 years of, now Les is 80, I'm 80, Willie, how old are you?
67.
67, so he's the top, remember, he's the young stage. So those are things that we have to understand, we have to internalize and know that it's never too late, and this is what leaders understand. They fall, but they bounce back up, they have character, they have integrity, and again, this is the most important thing a leader can do, is to model behavior, and you never know who's watching you, you never know who's mentoring you at arm's length, right? I watch Van Jones, I love Van Jones, I love when he's on the panel, I mean, I really do, because he's articulate, he's concise, he's crisp, he's a master of the King's English, and a brilliant thinker. So he's modeling behavior. When you see that brother on that panel, right, doing his thing, you say, that's excellence. That's excellence. In fact, to speak about excellence for a second, I'm writing a new book called The New Flex. The New Flex. The subtitle is Excellence is the Base, Exceptionalism is the Goal. Okay? Now, what does that mean? It means that if you are black in America, wherever the entry point for you to excel, to lead, the entrance point is excellence. It's not average, it's not mediocrity, it's excellence. It used to be good. It used to, your mom used to tell me, Georgie boy, you're going to have to be twice as good to get half as much, because if you're black and mediocre in America, you better leave, right? You better leave. So, because if you're mediocre and you're alcohol, you will ultimately be sidelined. You'll be destroyed, quite frankly. So excellence is the base. And model excellence. In a line of fire, excellence. So this is the other thing that must be modeled as a leader, is not only excellence, that's the entry point, but exceptionalism.
Would you please stand? Because Les Brown is entered the room. So let me say, my position is that Les Brown is the greatest motivational speaker on the planet today. George Frazier is the greatest networking expert on the planet today. They are both going to be 80 years old at their next birthday. And they look good, don't they?
Yeah, I'm 80-ish.
I'm the youngin', you know, but
while you're, first of all, you're very kind, very generous. I don't apologize, family. I was waiting for my suit to come so I could change clothes and look clean. However, but how many of you remember that movie called The Secret? Raise your hands if you remember that. Yeah. I want you to know, you see that gentleman there? Stand up, please, sir. Yes, sir. I'm talking to you. Yes. I know you just got here. He is the answer. Because when you think about where we are now and the major shift that's taken, financial literacy is major. If you don't know how to play the rules of the game, you know, people say, well, money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. And I used to be so broke, I'd walk past the bank and trip the alarm. But now, this is a space where we are, that being poor is a choice. That we have available to us at our fingertips to have access to information. We've been conditioned to consume entertainment. But when you look at the books and the work that has been done in this space by you, the possibilities are unlimited as to what we can create. We can't do it by ourselves. No movement is driven just by our personality. It takes all of us being ambassadors and passing the word, passing the books, and having seminars and workshops, and helping to create within the collective thinking of people that they have the power to live their dreams and not be volunteer victims. Does that make sense? Okay, now back to you.
The great Les Brown, okay. I want to concur with Les first about John. John Hope Bryant is a gift to our country, to our community, and to the legacy that is yet to come because of what he has instilled. John is my guest on my XM show this week. And his story of overcoming is incredible and what he's been able to do. And what just astounds me about John is his ability to create relationships where people want to help because of his vision. So John is my guest this week. Give John a round of applause. And George is my guest coming up this weekend, and we're going to talk about the 8 streams of income, about generational wealth, and about how we create that. So I want to encourage everybody to listen to my show on XM. Tonight is Tuesday at 6, and then Thursday at 6, we'll hear John. Saturday at 4, and then next Tuesday and Thursday at 6, you'll hear George. Incredible. And I only focus on wealth. No pop culture, no politics, wealth, and how we create it. To answer your question is about leadership. If you take an apple, you cut it in half, you take all the seeds out of that apple, put them on a table, you can count the seeds that came out of that apple. But if you take one of those seeds, plant it, water it, you will never be able to count the apples that will come from those seeds. And that's about leadership. Leadership is what George said, modeling. There are 2 ways to get to any goal in life: mentors and mistakes. Now, both will get you there if you don't give up. One just gets you there with less headaches, heartaches, and knots upside your head. So that's why you get mentors. Les, you weren't here to hear us talk about the fact. No Les Brown, no George Frazier. No Les Brown, no Willie Jolley. Les Brown was a Johnny Appleseed for speakers. And he has transformed the lives of millions of people he has created.
We're going to get Les Brown caught up now. So we kicked everything off talking about defining moments. And there's this lineage that's been discussed prior to your arrival. Can you share with the audience, was there defining moments at the beginning of your journey of purpose that put you on the path that you've been on for many, many years now?
Oh, I remember very clearly. In fact, one of the things I'm doing now, Dr. Miles Monroe is one of my mentees. He said, Les Brown, there's no success without successors. And when he talked with me about that, because I've been doing the work with him on how to take your message and not just speak so people can hear you, but so that they can feel you. You can take them to a place in themselves that they can't go by themselves. And when I just think about this, my twin brother and I, we were conceived in Gainesville, Georgia. Our birth mother, she went down to Miami, Liberty City, gave birth to us, and put us in foster care. Her name is Dorothy Bell Rucker. Our grandmother, Beulah Rucker, who was a motivational speaker, which I did not know, just found this out 2 years ago. In Gainesville, Georgia, they have a Beulah Rucker Museum. But anyhow, going forward, when I was in the 5th grade, I was labeled eligible, medically retarded, and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again in the 8th grade. But my junior year in high school, and this was a defining moment, this high school teacher who was very much like John, he said, young man, go to the front of the room and work this problem out for me. And I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. I just want to see my copy Stevens. He said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. And I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing and saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. He asked, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And people started laughing just like he did then. And he looked at me, and I said, I am, sir. He came from behind his desk and he looked at me and he said, don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was and so what I'm doing now is if we look at where we are, remember Dr. Carter Q. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. We have been impacted by a virus, HIV, hood-infected virus, AIDS, addiction to incarceration, and death syndrome. And so I believe that the work that John is doing, what you're doing, Vance, what you're doing, George, and all of the speakers here, Willie, is to help to create a shift in the thinking of our people, to begin to create within us experiences just like what you're doing right now. This is an experience that help people to begin when they come here and see what's going on in these new relationships, that people become self-persuaded that we can have hope that things can get better, because when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. And so in this space where we are right now, we're in a better place than we've ever been in our entire lives. Everything we need to control our future, we have it available to us. We got to keep our mind on ourselves and how we have the world.
Very good. Now I'm told we have 5 minutes left. You guys enjoying yourselves? Dropping some gems on you this morning. To take us home, looking at the future, where do we go from now? Please share with the audience what they need to do today moving forward when it comes to generating their legacy and having a global impact in our society. Dr. Frazier, we'll start with you.
My biggest concern, Ambassador Young, is the existential crisis of the black family. Marriage has gone from 75% when I was a kid to 34% among black people. 72% of our children are born out of wedlock, and 80% are raised in a single-parent household. This is a mandate for extinction. We must fix this. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has arisen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of that culture. We must seriously work on family. It has impacted our ability to build wealth. 71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married. 66% of our brothers are not married, 33% of them will never get married. Our income is significantly impacted by it. There are 5 major cultural groups in America. White folks, in terms of median household wealth, median household income, have been number 1 for 350 years. For They're no longer number one. They're number three. Number one, East Indians. Median household wealth, income, $124,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Number two are Chinese Asians. Household median income, annual income, $109,000. What's the marriage rate? Nearly 70%. Number three are white people. Median household income, $81,000. What's the marriage rate among white folks in America? Down from 74% to 57%. Number four, Hispanics. Median household wealth, $62,000 a year. Marriage rate, nearly 70%. We're at the bottom. Median household wealth, $54,000 a year. Annual income, I should say. The marriage rate is 34%. And based on all facts and statistics and trends, if we don't fix this, Ambassador Young, if we don't fix this, it is projected that our marriage rate will be in the low teens within the next 20 years. This is a mandate for extinction. We must fix this. We must have men and women raising our children. And so a piece of simple advice is certainly in terms of how to wedlock birth rate. Don't invest in something permanent that may be temporary. Be careful who you're jumping up and down on. Be careful. If it's not a real man that wants you as a real partner, don't have no babies. You can have fun, but don't have no babies. Make sure that that's right. This is a critical issue. No one is talking about it, and we must resolve this. We must resolve this, or again, it is a mandate for extinction for us. The first challenge of our culture was the destruction of the black man. And the challenge now is the destruction of the black family. And we cannot thrive or survive without family at the center of our culture. Now, by the way, this is a unique problem only to African Americans in this country. This problem of family does not exist anywhere else in the diaspora except for here. Now, we know that when white folks catch a cold, we catch pneumonia. Their rate is going down significantly. Ours is even worse. We must fix this, or we've got a serious problem, certainly culturally and in this country. Family must come back to the center of how we will rise. It will impact and have a domino effect on every aspect of our lives. So I just want to throw that down.
Yeah, very good.
Real quick.
We've got a special presentation for
I'll do this real quick because I want to just jump on this. I was here 2 years ago, I spoke. I listened to John, and it sparked an idea about how I could impact using my radio, using my books. So for the last 2 years, I've been writing a book. It's called Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better. And it is built on a premise that there are 5 money mindsets in America. The first money mindset is the indigent. They think day to day. You got enough money to help me through the day. They have a cardboard box. Second is the fixed income 30-day. They think 30-day mindset. Stay on WIC or whatever kind of payments, maybe Social Security. But they think month to month. Then they're the middle class who tend to think year to year. Did I get a cost of living raise? Then they're the rich. We tend to see them in athletics or music. We get an athlete who gets a 10-year, $100 million contract. He's balling for 10 years. But after 10 years, if he doesn't get another contract, his lifestyle has to change. If he doesn't modify it, he goes broke. We see that 74% of athletes are broke 5 years after retirement. My fifth one is the wealthy. They think generation to generation to generation. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's great-grandchildren. So I'm writing the book. The book will be finished this month. It'll be out first quarter. I want to make sure you all know about it. Go to wjwow.com. Sign up for my newsletter so you'll get information. WJWow. Plus you'll get free books and ebooks there. And then first quarter it'll come out. My goal for the book is to get each level to go up 1 point. To get the indigent to go up to the 30 to go up to the 1 year, the 1 year to go up to the rich, and the rich to go up to the wealthy, and the wealthy to become mega wealthy. If we do that, we'll have an impact in our community that will be legacy building. So that's my goal.
Very good. Well, I know we have the end of the session, but founder, chairman, and CEO John Hope Bryant has a special presentation for all three of you. Absolutely. We're going to give you the last chance.
Thank you so much. Here's what I think. Mr. Washington said to me, I adopted him as my spiritual father, because I've never known my biological father. He said, if you want to make it in life, young man, he said 3 things important. He says, number 1, develop your mind. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You think about the Hope Conference. When there's hope in the future, it gives you power in the present. So what John Hope Bryant is doing, that's a master key in helping to fortify people's faith in themselves and help them to become self-persuaded, to have the courage to become, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. He said, number 2, he said, practice OQP, only quality people. Harvard University did a 48-year study called Your Reference Group, and they wanted to know what was it that the top 1% do. They found out that the relationships that they had, and what we're doing here is creating communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships of greatness. So iron sharpens iron, that we can help each other. And the final thing he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nothing happens until it's spoken. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Amen.
Don't literally drop the mics. I gotta pay for them, and they already don't work the way I want to, so don't drop them. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You should make sure you meet whoever is next to you. The guy who just stood up to walk out, that's the anchor person for CNBC. At 5 or 6 in the morning, he canceled his show for 2 days in New York to come here. By the way, he's rich, he's handsome, he's single. He got a job, he's got a good credit score, he got health benefits, he's sane, he's intelligent, he's everything. That's a walking American dream right there. He got an expense account, 700 credit score. He honors his mother, that's Frank Holland. But isn't it beautiful? Like, he's not ego tripping. He's not looking for attention. He's out there, he's back there being a little fanboy, taking pictures of his heroes, which is beautiful. Honor and respect.
Yes.
You got Brad Johnson here, who's a great entrepreneur, restaurateur, businessman, philanthropist, who I've known for 30 years. I call him the Black Clark Gable. You got Eric Song. You got Eric Song here, who's flown in from Dubai, who's the blackest Chinese person I've ever met in my life. There's just so many heroes and sheroes in this room. Women who've changed the world. And meet somebody. Meet somebody you've never met, you don't know. And make sure you shake the hand of the legends and the icons, like the only Nelson Mandela-like figure in the world today with 130 honorary doctorate degrees, Ambassador Andrew Young. And behind every successful man is an exhausted woman. And it's Carolyn. That's Mrs. Carolyn Young, who is absolutely fabulous. You've never met her. She's quiet, but she is not soft. She's nice. Don't go left of her. You will find you got one leg and it's paid. Carolyn don't play. We have, you'll hear later from Boris Kojo, a great, you know, was a great model actor. I know as an intellectual businessman trying to save Africa. So many heroes that she wrote here. But we are here in the next couple of minutes to pay homage to three legends, three giants. We don't have a lot of time. We're going to get through this expeditiously, but you heard from them. My brother Van Jones said to me, after listening to George Frazier, Van Jones, who also is a giant, sitting there, just coming here for 3 days, being humble, just serving. He's sitting there trying to sit there, how do I fix the mics? I want everybody to hear what he's got to say. He's trying to go back in the technician room. Van Jones said, I want to be an honorary 80-year-old like Dr. Frazier. He said he had no filter. Dr. Frazier, no filter, tell you who to marry, who to leave at the curb. It's freedom. Money is freedom. Being an elder, and you make it to that place and you've got that sort of regard as freedom. And you've heard the wisdom of agency. I grew up listening to Les Brown. And we're still listening to George Frazier and Willie. And we honor all of you. I know that we gotta go, but I want you to know that this moment sticks and stands in time. We've got it filmed. We will make sure that it's spread broadly and deeply. The world needs to know that before you can run down the road, somebody paved it. So somebody paved it, somebody gave it a path. So before it was a path, it was dirt. Before it was dirt, it was just a speckle of hope. And somebody had to believe in that speckle of hope. Pastor Young has a story. When he was a young man in theology school, he questioned his own purpose. Can you believe that? He questioned whether he was here to do anything meaningful. He went up on a mountain and he looked at God after seeing everything around him and said, oh my, if the rock has a purpose, if the plant has a purpose, if the dirt underneath my feet has a purpose, if the skies above and the clouds all have a purpose, if the sun that shines down has a purpose, it's all around me. If that has a purpose, and you know that I have a purpose, I just have to go find it. That's my responsibility, to find it. What these three light bearers have helped you do is to find your purpose. It's up to you to go do it. Recognition of your inspirational and pioneering efforts to give voice to the underserved and the underrepresented, and I will add to the voiceless, and for being a passionate advocate for civil rights and civil rights in our nation. Isn't it wonderful? You have to slow that down. You have to say silver rights, otherwise they get all tumbled in the mouth. The 2024 Hope Global Forum, December 9th through the 11th, Chairman's Hope Award goes, the first one goes to the legendary Les Brown. We'll do this in the order of age and stature. And no one can argue with this. They're in alignment Chairman's Hope Award presented to Dr. George Frazier in recognition of your inspirational and pioneering efforts to give voice to the underserved and the underrepresented, and for being a passionate advocate for civil rights in our nation. Likewise, 2024 Hope Global Forum, December 9th and 11th, to the man, the myth, the legend, to the Clark Gable on stage, George Frazier. To the man who's always Jolley. The name fits him perfectly. God and obviously your mother and father knew what they were doing. You have been a beacon of voice and a microphone. Without the media, you don't have a movement. Dr. King knew he couldn't march before 10 or after 3. And he needed time for the media to get there, and he needed time for the media to get that on a film. Back then it was a reel of film, on a plane to New York City to be processed for the 6 o'clock news from NBC, ABC, and CBS. That's all you had back then. And it was New York Times reporters had to get their notes back to New York City from the South. And they wouldn't march after 3. And you have been so good at bringing the mic to the movement. And for that and so much more, we present to you the 2024 Hope Global Forum, 9th through the 11th, Chairman's Hope Award to Dr. Willie Jolley, in recognition of your inspiration.
Can we give these legends a round of applause? To a great start. We'll see you in the ballroom.
And unlike most Black produced meetings, we're on time.